Jazz certainly is an uninhibited art form. It's one of the few where you're creating in the moment, right? It's composition in the moment. So I get here very, very early, and I go through my routine. Even in the monotony of the routine, the fact that you are kind of in your own space can kind of feel like an escape in a way. You never stop writing just because you feel as though you've got enough material. If the moment's there, you got to take it. So part of the mentality going into recording this record and the previous records is how to keep the tradition of jazz and improvisational music along with a more cinematic approach. And trying to make people feel something that wouldn't typically give jazz a chance. That's kind of what this group is about in a way, is to try and create a music that encompasses more than the stigma of what instrument we play or our background or what others might think of when they think of jazz or several other types of music.
Jazz is the indigenous art form of America. I think of it as how jazz inspires me and what I do for other people.
Jeff always has a forward, searching quality about what he does. It's very refreshing to see that we've done something completely different with Anthem. The writing has so many different elements to it.
For Anthem, it's a call to action. So I took titles from the Declaration of Independence. Each track is named after a key phrase or set of words that tell a story from start to finish. Prudence dictates that we should not make changes to government that are light or transient. So, the wisdom to know when to say when. That's the opening track. I leave a lot of space and interpretation available for each player because I know what they're going to come up with is probably going to be better than anything I would have thought of. Each musician has their own feature throughout. So we come together more as a band rather than just featuring me, for example.
And playing in Jeff's, very open music where there's a lot of time to shine, and it's like the band really helps support you. I mean, that really helped me develop some of that voice.
I think musically, it's an exploration harmonically and melodically, and also the orchestrations.
A lot of times in the jazz world, there's the stigma of people playing for themselves. They're back to the audience, this elitist type thing. I think that this setting offers the contrary to that and is welcoming to letting an audience be connected and then go through the experience that the music provides.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very melodic, so I feel like it's accessible from that element. The instrumentation is modern. I mean, electric guitar, electric bass, and the composition is very unique. I mean, you've got the jazz saxophone element, kind of keeping it firmly rooted in the tradition of jazz. But yeah, it definitely has the cinematic elements.
For me, it's about finding how I can help get the band to those like epic moments where we're all connected. Like moving in the same direction and to where like it's just happening by itself. When all of us are just like climbing the mountain together and then Collins.
Every composition that I've written for this project has been specifically for these players. It's really the cry or the call of action to have people be who they want to be and not think about what somebody else thinks. It's really, what do you have to offer? And how can you give that in the best way possible? How can you contribute what you believe you're supposed to contribute?
I just try to explore and play like the voicings or play the ideas that move me and maybe try to find some space where I can fill and incorporate some like more earthy elements of some of the piano players that I like.
I think that the music is a universal language that everyone speaks, whether they know it or not, affects everyone in a very personal way.
It's a very inspiring project, I think, for all of us because it's given us avenues for getting better at trying to promote Jeff's vision in a way that's like unique to us, but that also like is relevant to the music. And it's not like, oh, hey, look at me.
One thing that you could say is a lot different about this album than the others is the whole thing is start to finish one continuous piece with transitions that flow in and out, you know. And so one of the transitions is like just an open drum solo.
Jeff came to me with this drum solo and he wanted me to build kind of like a sonic soundscape with the modular synthesizers to accompany the drums. What I ended up doing was essentially anytime the drum would hit, that would send a signal that would then trigger something in the modular and it would sort of like create the sort of cascading effect.
Even if there's moments where you find yourself kind of lost in this musical world, you always have to have something that you're striving for. Often the groove will change during solos and be completely different than how we rehearsed it. Music is really this collection of individual experiences, but experienced as a collective. It's that ability to open a dialogue with your fellow musicians, as well as express what it is that you're trying to get across.
Jeff and I have a sax and percussion duo. It's this moment that we created together that I really, really enjoy. I combined this hybrid of these conga parts to create that 2-bar phrase, and then I built all of the other percussion parts around that. When like everyone else in this band is an amazing soloist and like has incredible chops and incredible musicality. You know, there are moments of space, but like everyone is like fully capable of playing a lot of notes well. But I would rather let people that are really good at playing a lot of notes do that, and then I contribute with sound.
I wanted the orchestrations to really not only complement, but be a part of the group. Most of the songs that I write, I have orchestra in mind because that sound is in my head. And that's why a lot of the harmonies are over long periods of time, because it leaves space for the orchestra.
When Jeff brings this stuff, he brings fully fleshed out compositions. I'm able to see, here's exactly what Jeff handed to the band. There's 5 people in front of me that have interpreted this thing, so that by the last deal, you've got the most informed opinion.
My favorite part is hearing the orchestral element added to everything because it's a part of it. And I love listening to it and hearing all the colors and textures that are in any given moment.
The bar was like up here
Yeah.
when you brought it to me. All this great production quality, adding constant, exciting ear candy. I mean, a lot of it was in the performance already, and it was just a matter of, bringing out all of the little details that you layered onto it. Kind of thinking a little bit sort of outside the usual thing and kind of combining all those different elements. And really exciting that you thought of me to do that, because that's what I love to do.
When I hear my favorite band's live record or I go see them live, that's always the best representation to me of that group. The live show is about showing where you are as a musician, as a group, and exuding that energy to make it infectious so that the audience feels like they're a part of it. It's an entire experience.
That's part of the magic of the live scenario. There's less pressure, you're not quite as under a microscope, and it's more of a friendly sharing of some art or music that we've all been, working on together. To be in a room with the amplifiers, with the horns, for the audience to actually feel the air moving.
One of the most important things about playing live for me is trying to do my best to share the joy and the happiness that music brings to me with the audience.
I don't know, how do you play live? Like, I want to play something emotional. I have to fight the tendency to play stuff that I think is cool or will impress people, because I just want to be cool. And it's more important to be authentic, I think. Yeah, I don't really know how to do that, but I think you just have to try to do it.
This is basically a suite, and everything kind of builds, and there's a whole journey with transitions that build into the next tune, and finally to a grand finale with some major orchestration.
Well, jazz can really be anything that the listener wants it to be in many ways. It is a journey. It's a type of music that tells a story from start to finish.